The world held hidden places, places untouched by time. The enchanted forest was one such place. Sunlight dappled through the leaves, painting patterns on the forest floor. The air hummed with life, birds sang sweet melodies, leaves rustled like whispers. Water flowed over rocks, a soothing symphony. The enchanted forest was a rainforest, ancient and alive. It breathed magic into the world. Every tree, every flower, every creature thrummed with an energy as old as time itself. This was a place of harmony. Trees reached for the sky, their roots intertwined beneath the earth. Animals large and small lived together, their lives woven into the fabric of the forest. The enchanted forest was a testament to the power and beauty of the natural world. It was a whisper of the wild, calling out to those who would listen. Ilara heard the call. She felt it deep within her heart, a pull towards the wild places. The forest welcomed her. It knew her soul. From a young age, Ilara had found solace in nature. The towering trees, the vibrant flowers, the soft earth beneath her feet, all spoke to her in a language she understood. The city was a cacophony of noise and chaos, but the forest offered peace. It offered escape. Today, Ilara sought refuge in the embrace of the ancient trees. She craved the quiet wisdom of the woods. The forest held a stillness that calmed her mind and rejuvenated her spirit.
The forest, it's like it knows me. It understands me in ways no one else can.
The sun began its descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold. Ilara ventured deeper into the woods, following a path only her heart could see. She found a clearing bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun. In the center stood a tree like no other. It was ancient, its trunk wider than any man could span. Its branches reached towards the heavens like arms outstretched in welcome. Beneath its canopy, Ilara felt safe. She felt a sense of belonging she had never known before. Exhausted from her journey, Ilara settled down at the base of the tree. The soft moss cushioned her like a bed. The gentle rustling of the leaves above lulled her into a peaceful sleep. As she drifted off, she was filled with a sense of anticipation, a feeling that something magical was about to unfold.
This tree, it feels like home. I can rest here just for a while.
Fairies, tiny and luminous, flitted through the air on gossamer wings that shimmered with every color of the rainbow. Their laughter was like the tinkling of bells, light and joyful. They danced among the trees, their movements as graceful and fluid as the wind itself. Ilara, S1. I've never seen anything like this. It's so beautiful. Wise old owls, their feathers the color of moonlight perched on branches above, their amber eyes twinkling with ancient wisdom. They observed the festivities with a serene calmness, their presence radiating tranquility and peace. Gentle deer, their coats shimmering like spun gold, grazed peacefully in the clearing. They lifted their heads at Ilara's approach, their large liquid eyes filled with a gentle curiosity. Ilara, S1. I feel so welcomed here. It's like I belong. These creatures, so different from anything she had ever known, embraced her without hesitation. They drew her into their circle, their joy infectious. For the first time in her life, Ilara felt a sense of belonging, a feeling of being truly home. Welcome, Ilara. A voice like the tinkling of bells reached her ears. A fairy, no bigger than Ilara's hand, hovered before her. Her wings, a delicate tracery of silver and blue, fluttered rapidly, keeping her aloft. Her eyes, the color of amethysts, sparkled with mischief and warmth. Lyra the fairy, S2. I am Lyra. Welcome to the dream realm of the enchanted forest. This is where the magic of nature comes alive. Ilara's heart soared. She had stumbled into a realm of pure enchantment, a place where dreams took flight and the impossible became possible. The forest, she realized, was no ordinary woodland. It was a place of ancient power, its very existence woven into the fabric of magic itself. Ilara, S1. This is incredible. It's more beautiful than I could have ever imagined. She reached out a tentative hand towards Lyra, who fluttered closer, alighting on Ilara's finger with the lightness of a feather. Lyra the Fairy, S2. The forest holds many secrets, Ilara. Secrets waiting to be discovered by those who know how to listen. Ilara lost herself in the dance of the forest spirits. Hours melted away like snowflakes on a warm spring day. She laughed with the fairies, their laughter like the tinkling of 1,000 tiny bells. She listened, wide-eyed, to the owls' tales of ancient times, their voices deep and resonant, filled with the wisdom of ages. She even found herself dancing with the deer, their movements graceful and fluid, their hooves barely touching the ground. The sun, a giant orb of molten gold, began its slow descent towards the horizon. Long shadows stretched across the clearing, whispering of the approaching night. As the light began to fade, Ilara felt a shift in the atmosphere. The carefree joy that had filled the clearing moments before seemed to dim, replaced by a growing sense of unease. The fairies' laughter, once so carefree, now held a nervous edge. The owls hooted softly amongst themselves, their amber eyes scanning the forest edges with an uncharacteristic anxiety. Even the deer seemed to sense the change, their playful movements replaced by a wary stillness. They huddled closer together, their large eyes reflecting the growing darkness. Ilara, S1. What is it? What's wrong? Ilara, sensing their unease, turned to Lyra, her brow furrowed with concern. Lyra, her delicate features etched with worry, fluttered closer, perching on Ilara's shoulder. Her amethyst eyes, usually sparkling with mischief, were now clouded with concern. Her voice, when she spoke, was hushed, barely a whisper.
A shadow falls over the heartwood, Ilara, a darkness we haven't felt in ages.
Ilara's hand flew to her chest, her heart pounding like a drum in her ears. Fear, cold and unfamiliar, coiled in the pit of her stomach.
What kind of darkness?
She had witnessed the beauty and wonder of the dream realm, but she knew that even in a place of magic, darkness could lurk.
Forces beyond our realm, they seek to exploit the forest, to drain its magic for their own selfish desires.
Lyra shuddered, her wings fluttering erratically for a moment before she regained her composure.
They covet the life force that flows through these woods, Ilara. They see only its power, not its beauty, not its importance to the balance of all things.
She looked at Ilara, her amethyst eyes filled with a desperate hope.
They are strong, Ilara, stronger than anything we've faced before. But they do not understand the ways of the forest. They do not know its secrets, its strength.
She paused, her gaze locking with Ilara's.
But you, Ilara, you carry the heart of the wild within you. You can be the forest's champion, Ilara. You can help us protect it.
Ilara's breath caught in her throat. The weight of Lyra's words settled upon her, heavy and inescapable. The forest, this magical realm that had welcomed her with open arms, was in danger, and she, Ilara, a girl who had only just discovered its wonders, was somehow its only hope.
What can I do?
She might be a girl from another world, but she would not let fear paralyze her. She would fight for this forest, for the magical creatures who had shown her such kindness.
You possess a connection to nature, Ilara, a love for the forest that runs deep within your soul. That love is your strength, Ilara. It is the key to awakening the spirits of the forest, to rallying its creatures against this threat.
Ilara's hand instinctively went to the silver locket that hung around her neck, a gift from her grandmother who had always spoken of the magic of the natural world. She gripped it tightly, drawing strength from its cool touch. She might be just one girl, but she was not powerless. She had a role to play, a destiny to fulfill.
Tell me what I need to do, Lyra. I will protect this forest. I will be its champion.
The clearing, once alive with laughter and light, now hummed with a different kind of energy. A sense of urgency hung in the air, a palpable tension that sent shivers down Ilara's spine. Gone was the carefree joy of moments before, replaced by a steely determination that settled over the forest spirits like a shroud.
Our journey begins here, Ilara. We must reach the heartwood, the ancient heart of the forest, before the darkness consumes it.
Ilara took a deep breath, the scent of pine needles and damp earth filling her lungs. She adjusted the straps of her backpack, her fingers brushing against the familiar comfort of her grandmother's silver locket. She wasn't sure what lay ahead, but she knew one thing for certain: she wouldn't back down. She would protect this magical place, this haven of wonder, with everything she had. With a reassuring squeeze of Ilara's arm, Lyra took flight, her iridescent wings catching the fading light as she led the way. Ilara followed close behind, her eyes wide with a mixture of apprehension and excitement. The forest, once a place of peace and tranquility, now seemed to pulse with a hidden energy, the very air thrumming with anticipation. The path wound its way deeper into the woods, twisting and turning through a maze of towering trees and lush undergrowth. The air grew cooler, the canopy above so dense that only slivers of sunlight managed to penetrate the leafy ceiling. The forest floor was a tapestry of moss-covered roots and fallen leaves, damp and springy beneath Ilara's feet. As they ventured deeper into the woods, Ilara became aware of the forest's inhabitants watching them from the shadows. Squirrels peeked from behind branches, their black eyes bright with curiosity. Birdsong, once a cheerful melody, now seemed hushed, filled with a quiet urgency. Even the insects seemed to move with a sense of purpose, their tiny legs carrying them swiftly through the undergrowth.
Do not be afraid, Ilara. The forest is with us. Its creatures are our allies in this fight.
As if to emphasize Lyra's words, a large owl swooped down from the canopy above, landing gracefully on a low-hanging branch just ahead of them. It was a magnificent creature, its feathers a mottled pattern of brown and grey, its amber eyes glowing with an ancient wisdom. Ilara gasped, both startled and awestruck by its sudden appearance. The owl regarded Ilara with a steady gaze, its head cocked slightly to one side as if sizing her up.
Greetings, young one. I am Orion. Lyra has told me much about you.
It is an honor to meet you, Orion.
Ilara, her initial fear replaced by a sense of awe, bowed her head respectfully. She had always been drawn to owls, fascinated by their silent flight and air of mystery. But this owl, with its piercing gaze and commanding presence, seemed different, as if it possessed a wisdom far beyond its years.
You have chosen well, little one. This girl possesses a pure heart, a deep connection to the natural world. She is the one we have been waiting for.
Thank you, Orion. We are honored to have your guidance.
The path ahead will be fraught with danger, young one. The forces we face are powerful, their hearts consumed by greed and darkness.
Ilara, her resolve hardening with every word, met Orion's gaze without flinching.
I'm not afraid.
She had faced her fears in the heart of the dream realm, and she would not back down now. Not when the fate of this magical forest, this sanctuary of wonder, hung in the balance. Orion nodded slowly, a flicker of approval in his amber eyes.
Good. You possess the spirit of a true warrior, but strength alone will not be enough to defeat the darkness. You must learn to listen to the whispers of the forest, to understand the language of the wild.
The language of the wild?
Ilara frowned, her brow furrowing in thought. She had always felt a connection to nature, but she had never heard it speak, not in words she could understand.
The forest speaks in a language all its own, young one. A language of rustling leaves and babbling brooks, of birdsong and animal calls. It is a language of instinct and intuition, of feeling rather than hearing.
He paused, allowing his words to sink in.
You have heard this language before, Ilara. You have felt its pull in the rustling of leaves, the whisper of the wind through the trees. You have sensed it in the warmth of the sun on your skin, the coolness of the earth beneath your feet.
Ilara closed her eyes, her senses expanding as she focused on the world around her. She heard the gentle rustling of leaves in the breeze, the chirping of crickets hidden in the undergrowth, the distant call of a lone bird high above. She felt the rough bark of a nearby tree against her fingertips, the damp earth beneath her feet, the cool air on her skin, and then she felt it. A faint pulsing energy, a subtle vibration that seemed to emanate from the very heart of the forest. It was a gentle rhythm, slow and steady like a heartbeat. It was the life force of the forest, the interconnectedness of all living things. Ilara's eyes flew open, wonder and excitement shining in their depths. She understood. The forest wasn't speaking in words she could hear, but in a language she could feel. It was a language that resonated deep within her soul, a language that whispered of ancient wisdom and boundless magic. The Heartwood. Even the name sent a tremor through Elara. It was a place whispered of in legends, a place of ancient power, the very heart of the enchanted forest. As Elara, Lyra and Orion ventured deeper, the air grew heavy, thick with anticipation. The forest floor, usually a tapestry of green and brown, was now painted in shades of grey and black. The trees, once vibrant with life, stood as silent sentinels, their branches bare, their leaves withered and brown. A palpable darkness had settled over the land, a suffocating presence that sent chills down Elara's spine.
They are already here. Their taint spreads like a disease, draining the life from this sacred place.
Elara's hand instinctively went to her grandmother's locket, drawing strength from its familiar weight against her chest. Fear, cold and sharp, threatened to consume her, but she pushed it back, drawing on the courage she had found within the forest's embrace. She would not let fear cripple her, not now, not when the fate of this magical realm hung in the balance.
Be strong, Elara. The forest believes in you. We believe in you.
Elara nodded, her gaze sweeping over the desolate landscape, her heart aching at the sight of the once vibrant forest now teetering on the brink of destruction. She wouldn't let this stand. She would fight for the Heartwood, for every tree, every creature, every whisper of magic that called this enchanted forest home. As Elara ventured deeper into the Heartwood, she felt a growing resistance to the oppressive darkness. It wasn't a physical force, but something more profound, a deep-seated defiance that resonated from the very core of the forest. She could sense it in the rustle of the wind through the bare branches, in the murmur of the stream as it flowed over moss-covered stones, in the chirping of a lone cricket hidden amongst the fallen leaves. The Heartwood was fighting back, its ancient power stirring, fueled by the collective will of its inhabitants. One by one, creatures emerged from the shadows, their eyes gleaming with a fierce determination. Elara recognized the playful fairies, their iridescent wings now dulled by the oppressive darkness, their laughter replaced by grim determination. The wise owls, their amber eyes burning with an ancient fury, swooped low overhead, their silent wings stirring the air with a palpable tension. Even the deer, usually so timid, stood shoulder to shoulder with the other creatures, their hooves stamping the ground in a show of solidarity. Elara was no longer alone. The forest in its entirety had risen to meet this challenge. They were a force to be reckoned with, united in their love for their home, their determination fueled by the ancient magic that flowed through their veins. And at their center stood Elara, the girl from another world, the unexpected champion who had awakened their hope, their courage, their unwavering belief in the power of the wild.
Elara, the time has come. You must awaken the Heartwood's magic.
Elara's breath caught in her throat. She had felt the forest's power thrumming beneath her feet, but she had never dared to wield it, to unleash its raw energy. Doubt gnawed at the edges of her resolve. Was she strong enough? Was she worthy of such a task?
Trust in yourself, young one. The forest believes in you. Let its power flow through you.
Elara closed her eyes, drawing a deep, steadying breath. She could feel the forest's energy swirling around her, a maelstrom of raw power waiting to be unleashed. She had to trust in herself, in the bond she had forged with this magical realm. Slowly, tentatively, Elara extended her hands towards the ancient tree at the heart of the Heartwood. It was the oldest, most powerful tree in the forest, its roots spreading deep beneath the earth, its branches reaching towards the heavens. As her fingertips brushed against its rough bark, a jolt of pure energy surged through her, coursing through her veins like a bolt of lightning. Elara gasped, her body tingling with a power she had never imagined possible. A soft white light began to emanate from Elara's hands, spreading outwards, illuminating the encroaching darkness. The forest creatures, sensing the shift in power, raised their voices in a chorus of defiance, their cries echoing through the Heartwood. The light intensified, growing brighter with every passing moment, pushing back the darkness inch by inch. It was the light of hope, the light of courage, the light of 1,000 stars shining brightly against the blackest night. The air crackled with energy as the light emanating from Ilara collided with the encroaching darkness. The forest floor trembled, the very air vibrating with the intensity of the confrontation.
I can feel the darkness pushing back, resisting my efforts to cleanse the heartwood of its taint, but I refuse to yield.
She poured every ounce of her strength, her will, her love for this enchanted realm into the light that flowed from her fingertips. The light spread outwards, forming a shimmering dome over the heartwood, a beacon of hope in the face of despair.
Look, the forest creatures are rallying. Their spirits are lifted by Ilara's unwavering determination.
The fairies, their wings regaining their iridescent glow, flitted through the air, their laughter ringing out like tiny chimes, a defiant melody against the encroaching darkness. The owls, their amber eyes burning brightly, swooped low overhead, their sharp talons bared, ready to defend their home. The deer, their antlers held high, pawed the ground, their eyes gleaming with a newfound courage.
I can feel the forest's power coursing through me, a surge of raw energy that both exhilarates and terrifies me. But I can't relinquish control.
The fate of the heartwood, the fate of the entire enchanted forest rested on her shoulders. She had to hold on, to fight with everything she had.
You are the Heartwood's champion, Ilara, the unexpected warrior who has awakened the forest's ancient magic. You must not falter.
Not now, not ever.
The heartwood held its breath. The air crackled with tension. The forces of darkness, a swirling mass of shadows and despair, pressed against the shimmering dome of light that Ilara held precariously in place. The fate of the enchanted forest hung in the balance, a delicate dance between destruction and renewal.
Strained. I can feel it. The darkness. It's trying to break through.
Ilara, her hands pressed against the ancient tree's bark, could feel the darkness trying to claw its way through her defenses, a relentless tide threatening to engulf everything she held dear. But Ilara was not alone. As the darkness surged forward, a wave of raw power rippled through the heartwood, a primal force as old as time itself. The ancient tree at Ilara's back, the very heart of the forest, shuddered, its branches groaning in protest as it awakened from its slumber. The forest itself was rising to meet the challenge, its ancient magic surging forth to protect its own.
Awed, the forest, it's fighting back.
The ground beneath Ilara's feet trembled, the vibration spreading outwards like a ripple in a pond. The air crackled with energy, charged with the raw power of nature, unleashed. A low growl rumbled through the air, a sound ancient and primal, a sound that spoke of a power beyond comprehension. The forest creatures, sensing the shift in the balance of power, drew back, their eyes wide with a mixture of awe and terror. The darkness for a moment seemed to hesitate, as if sensing the formidable force it had awakened. Then, with a roar that shook the very foundations of the heartwood, the forest unleashed its fury. Tendrils of pure white light erupted from the ground, weaving a blinding tapestry of energy that drove back the encroaching darkness. The ancient tree at the heartwood's center pulsed with a vibrant green light, its branches reaching skyward as if to embrace the heavens. Leaves, once withered and brown, unfurled with impossible speed, transforming the skeletal branches into a vibrant canopy of emerald green. The air, once heavy with despair, crackled with a renewed sense of hope.
Exclaiming, "Look at the light! The forest is reborn!"
The forest creatures, caught in the maelstrom of light and energy, cried out, their voices a symphony of defiance and exhilaration. The fairies, their iridescent wings catching the light in a dazzling display of colour, danced amidst the tendrils of energy, their laughter echoing through the heartwood like 1,000 tiny bells. The owls, their amber eyes burning brightly, soared through the air, their wings stirring the light into a swirling vortex of power. Even the timid deer, their eyes wide with wonder, stamped their hooves and tossed their antlers, caught up in the intoxicating wave of the forest's triumph.
Breathless. I can feel it, the power. It's overwhelming.
Ilara, her hands still pressed against the ancient tree's bark, felt the surge of power coursing through her, an overwhelming wave of energy that threatened to sweep her away. But she held on, her heart pounding in her chest, her spirit soaring with the forest's victory. She had been a conduit for the Heartwood's magic, a catalyst for its awakening. But the true power had always resided within the forest itself. The light subsided. The forest, bathed in the afterglow of its own power, stood serene, majestic. The air, once thick with tension, now vibrated with a gentle peace, a symphony of rustling leaves and birdsong. The Heartwood, its ancient tree glowing with a soft emerald light, pulsed with renewed life, its magic flowing freely once more. The darkness had retreated, vanquished by the combined might of the forest and the girl who had dared to believe in its power.
Exhausted, it's over, we did it.
Ilara, her hands trembling with exhaustion, slowly released her hold on the ancient tree. She stumbled back, her legs weak beneath her, and collapsed onto the soft moss that carpeted the forest floor. She lay there for a moment, her chest heaving, her senses overwhelmed by the sights and sounds of the revitalized Heartwood. The forest creatures, their initial awe replaced by unrestrained joy, surrounded her, their voices a chorus of gratitude and admiration.
Softly. You did it, Ilara. You saved us all.
Smiling weakly. I couldn't have done it without all of you.
Ilara, her heart still pounding from the confrontation, managed a weak smile. She looked around at the jubilant creatures, their eyes shining with gratitude and respect, and felt a surge of pride wash over her. She had faced her fears, embraced the unknown, and in doing so had discovered a strength she never knew she possessed. The forest, bathed in the soft light of dawn, seemed to sigh, its leaves rustling like whispers on the wind. Ilara, her body weary but her spirit soaring, felt a familiar pull, a gentle tug at the edges of her awareness. The dream realm, its purpose served, was calling her back to the world from which she had come. She turned to Lyra, her heart heavy with the bittersweet pang of farewell.
Whispering, I have to go, don't I?
Nodding. The forest will never forget you, Ilara. You will always be a part of this place, a guardian of its magic.
Choked with emotion. I will never forget you either, Lyra, or this incredible place.
A soft wind swept through the Heartwood, rustling the leaves, carrying with it the scent of pine needles and damp earth. A final farewell embrace. The air shimmered around Ilara, a swirling vortex of light and colour, and then, with a gentle tug, she was gone. The forest stood silent, its creatures watching the spot where Ilara had stood, their hearts filled with gratitude and a touch of sorrow. The girl from another world had saved them, awakened the Heartwood's magic, and in doing so had become a legend, a whisper on the wind, a guardian of the green.